Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and this video will showcase the lap times, top speeds and race tiers of all the day one cars from the GTA 5 Safehouse in the Hills or Mansions update. If you want to see how all vehicles from all classes perform, check the original 2024 testing videos in the playlist linked in the description, and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on future testing of new vehicles added to GTA 5 and beyond. So, starting off with the slowest of the 6 vehicles that we've got in this first batch of cars, with the Sentinel XS4. It's quite an interesting driving experience, this one. It's not the grippiest, but it does have some really good straight line performance, with that 127 mph good enough for second place in the class. And it's got quite long braking distances, it's quite understeery, it's quite fun. The reduced body roll with suspension flag is very evident on this car, so you are best off with the lowest suspension option here. But it's not just your standard boring easy to drive sedan class car. It sits in the A tier alongside the Vorschlag Hammer, and it should be an interesting one to race. Next up we've got the GT750. This one's very grippy and stable. It's not sort of what you would expect from an old school sports car like this, given for example older cars like the GT500 for example. They drive completely differently, they're a lot slower, a lot less grip. This sits in the B tier alongside things like the Retinue Mark II and the Rapid GT Classic. It's just not quite quick enough for the A tier cars, but it sits very nicely in that tier alongside those. It's a nice addition to that tier if you like. So our remaining 4 cars are all in the Supers class, starting with the Luiva, which is an all-round decent performer. It's not got an awful lot of grip in the corners, but it does have a really good top speed. And that 136.25 mph, even though it misses out on the top 5 for the Supers class, it actually makes it the fastest non-HSW supercar on that metric, and in the top 5 for non-HSW, non-boosted top speeds across all cars in the game. It's got quite a reminiscent driving experience to the Zarusso, and it fits into the same E tier that car is in, alongside a host of other cars like the Zentorno, T20, Nero Custom and a bunch of stuff like that. The Extreme is next, and it's kind of what you'd expect from an electric supercar in this game. Good acceleration, decent enough general straight line speed these days, at least for electric supercars, but it struggles a bit with the grip levels and the cornering ability. It sits right next to the Suzume, the electric supercar from the last DLC, in the C tier for the Supers class, with actually an almost identical lap time and a very close in terms of top speed as well, so it performs basically the same as the electric supercar we got in the last DLC. Now for the final 2, and they're obviously both the same car, but one is the non-HSW version, and the FMJ Mark V is essentially an Emirates. It's got insane grip levels, a little less nimble in slow speed corners than the Emirates and other A tier cars like the Krieger or the Turismo Maggio, just due to its size. It's so big, but it does have a better straight line speed than those, which helps balance that out, to the point where its lap time is actually only 1/1000th of a second quicker than the Amaggio and only a 10th slower than the Emirates, so it fits in perfectly with the top non-HSW tier for supers. But what happens when you put an HSW upgrade on an A tier supercar? You get an S tier supercar, and in this case the fastest supercar in the game for both lap time and top speed. It may set you back over 5.5 million by the time you've fully upgraded it, but the HSW FMJ Mark V sits at the top of the class on both metrics, becoming only the second car in the game to break the 55-second lap time barrier to sit second overall to the BR8 and less than 0.2 of a second behind it for lap time, and its top speed is enough to put it in 10th place in the game overall across all cars in all classes, around 17 mph down on the HSW Banshee GTS, which is at the very top. Its size is still a little bit of a problem, it is quite a big vehicle. It's probably the new best all-round car in the game when you're combining that lap time and top speed and the grip levels that it has, but the Niobe is right behind it it's actually a little bit quicker for top speed and a little bit slower for lap time, so the fact that the Niobe is slower, it'll be a lot more nimble, so it's between the two for sort of a best overall car in the game when you're comparing the two metrics, and want a bit of a balance of both. But when it comes to the supercars class, when it comes to supercar races, once you've gotten dialed in with the car and once you've got used to the size of it around the lap, it is an absolute monster. And finally, the stupid weaponized Ignis isn't at the top of supers anymore. I think we can all celebrate that one. But yeah, when you see the lap time that it gets and you compare it to the BR8, which the BR8 is so slow in terms of its top speed that it's amazing that it is still the fastest car in the game with all these HSW additions that have come out since then. That just goes to show the sheer grip levels that these open wheel cars have. But for the FMJ to be second in the game for lap time only to the BR8 and right up there in the top 10 for top speed for cars as well, yeah, it's a bit of a monster. So that's it for the first part of the DLC. Obviously we've got all the drip feed vehicles to come, which I went over in a previous video that you can check out, and I will be testing those when they release. But nothing is obviously going to hold a candle to this. This will be the fastest supercar, at least until the summer, with if they add anything else. But yeah, with that crazy lap time and sort of best supercars, supercars have never had the best top speed in the game, or at least you have to go all the way back to sort of 2016 with the 811 and the Banshee 900R to get that. So it's got a very good top speed for a supercar, even if it's not the highest top speeds that we see from other classes in other cars in other classes. And yeah, it just dominates the supercars class basically at this point. But that's everything for this video. Please consider supporting on Patreon or become a YouTube member if you want to support this work and get some extra perks for doing so, such as early access to videos and other testing results. And remember to read the description for more info, comment with your thoughts, like the video if you enjoyed it, found it helpful, and subscribe for more. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.